Let's make this big, over-the-top floral installation using the FloraCraft with PolyRenew foam made from recycled plastic. And it is incredible for these long-lasting designs. Every once in a while, I get the opportunity to introduce you to a product that really excites me. And this right here is just that. This is FloraCraft foam with PolyRenew. It's made out of recycled plastic. It's made right here in the US and is ideal for creating those permanent botanical structures. This foam comes in a variety of shapes and sizes, making for fantastic design ideas. Creating this design meant a little bit of structure. Well, a lot of structure. I started with a traditional pipe and drape pole. Then we added our foam sheets. Using this FloraCraft foam with PolyRenew, I was able to connect the foam directly to my pole so easily. I used my drill, drilled a couple holes, and then weaved my zip ties through. That holds it nice and tight. These towering pieces are over 8 feet tall, just with my foam and my poles. The flowers we're using today are from Plus One Imports Permanent Botanicals by Garcia Group. Once I've got it in place, I started to add our flowers. Of course, I just had to jump right in with these gorgeous hanging blossoms. We're working with peach blossoms and cherry blossoms. So in order to make the most of our space, this was a suggestion by my friend Brady that we bunch the blooms, and it was a great suggestion. So you'll see, rather than putting one bloom at a time, we're actually taking big bunches of these blooms. They're being zip tied to the back pole behind the floral foam. And then once I've got them in place and I like my direction, I'm going in with U-pins. These little U-pins are almost like giant staples, and they go into the foam really easily and they hold nicely. So I've taken this bunch of blossoms here, it's coming from the back, and we're moving it so it does this nice swoosh in this direction. Now you're gonna see, we're gonna add layers and layers of flowers. This is just us getting started. So these big, gorgeous blooms are fantastic, and they come on these long, long stems. I find sometimes I just need to give them a bend to get them into the shape I want. So right now, I want these blooms to really come down and hang towards the ground. So in order to do that, I'm putting them upright, but then I've got that nice bend in here so that when I place them, I can zip tie them nicely to this pole, and they're still going to drip down. They're not gonna fight me by going in the opposite direction. Now I'm using zip ties. They're a little shorter than I would like for this project, so I'm gonna go ahead and just connect my zip ties. 2 zip ties, make 1, and then I'm gonna come in and take my branch from my permanent botanical, my silk flowers, and I'm gonna take the zip tie through the back of my pole so that I can tie this nice and tight. And having this extra length by doubling up that zip tie makes it a whole lot easier. When you're designing with permanent botanicals or silk flowers, you're gonna need more than just a floral shear. You're gonna need some heavy equipment. This is a bolt cutter from my local hardware store. I use this to cut through the thick branches and a lot of these stems that have really heavy duty wires in them. When I have some of the softer wires, I can use this piece here. So a lot of people will go and they'll look for a wire cutter to cut through these. This bad boy, this is better. This here is actually designed for cutting through sheet metal, and I don't know the actual name of this tool. This one, the brand is Craftsman, but it's great. Again, find it at the hardware store, and it's designed to cut through sheet metal, but it cuts through these like butter. When I'm designing these wall style installs, I like my blooms really short. Now you can see often I'll leave this on because it really doesn't matter, but I do cut them down to, this is about 1/2 inch. It's short. Now, what's really fun is some flowers you can work a lot less and you don't need that heavy duty equipment. You can just pop off their heads and it comes off really easily. You just pull them off. Look at that. That's all that little wire was holding it. And that's how it was connected. So it comes together and comes off really quick. In order to get that definition of size, we've taken these skewers, totally bought them at the grocery store. You could use a hyacinth stick too. And then what you do is you just take your hydrangea and you use a skewer and you pop right in there. And that's gonna give you that length you need so that you can have 2 dimensions on your hydrangea blooms. You can have the short ones and the longer ones. When you're placing your silk blooms into this FloraCraft foam, you want to make sure that you are holding the foam while you're placing it. Otherwise, the pressure could snap your material. It's hardy, but you always got to be careful. Not all silks are created equal, and these Dusty Miller right here are definitely superior to all other silks. These look like they were just plucked from the garden, perfect color. The only reason I know that they're silk is because I'm holding them and it's got the tag attached. If I saw this in any arrangement, I would think these were 100% real. These are my new obsession. This piece is coming together lightning fast thanks to the use of this great foam and these silk blooms. As you see, we've started to add some of these beautiful peonies. Now, what I like to do is, you see we've already cut them down, and what I like to do with the bloom is I like to open it. Not all of them, but I'll take some of them and just pull my hand back to open them nice and big. This gives you more space and it breaks up your texture a little bit. So we're gonna add these, just like Jordan is, right to the corner, and then you see where the pockets in the center. I always try to do pockets of blooms at 12 minimum. So I will have at least 12 of the same exact bloom in each pocket of design. This design came together lightning quick using the techniques with the FloraCraft foam and these gorgeous silks. Now, what I really loved is the way we staggered these blooms. So you'll see we designed in groupings. We have groupings of hydrangea, beautiful veins of this gorgeous Dusty Miller running through. We've got our pops of our peony. I really love to design in groupings of color and groupings of flowers. Even here where you see we have this gorgeous hydrangea, you'll see the delphinium just shooting out. It's connected, doing a dance, if you will, with the design. Now you're also going to notice that we actually staggered our design spacing. So this design here is slightly more in front of this design. That is done as a visual aid to give us a little depth so it doesn't look like just a flat wall of flowers. Now let's talk about these silk blooms, these hanging cherry blossoms here. They gave me that airy whimsy I was looking for. And when we designed these, we actually put them in bunches and we did a cross section, which gave us a background of these gorgeous blooming branches. I really love a design where we get to have this kind of playful movement. And with these foam sheets that we meticulously connected, we were able to create this movement. You know, this sheet comes in a rectangle, but you don't have to design in a rectangle. It's so easy to cut, it's so easy to piece together. You can make whatever you're dreaming of. I want to say thank you to FloraCraft for trusting me with this design, and I want to thank +1 Imports, Permanent Botanicals by the Garcia Group for these beautiful flowers that we added to our FloraCraft foam. Together, this is a masterpiece.